Welcome back to the Relaxing Ghost channel here on YouTube. As always, your host with the most, Ghost. We're going to have a special video for you guys here today. 20 years of Kane in the WWE. It's not going to be the review of this DVD. I'm not going to review this just yet, but I'm going to do a little history video here chronicling the career of Kane. So let's get right into it, guys. Take some time and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So in 1997, October, WWE, then the WWF, held a pay-per-view. I believe it was in St. Louis. A pay-per-view called Bad Blood 1997. And during the main event, the Hell in a Cell match, the first ever Hell in a Cell match between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, Kane would make his first appearance, his WWE debut, pulling the cage door off, socking off The Undertaker, giving him a tombstone, and for I think a few months leading up to this, Paul Bearer would come out routinely cutting promos, telling The Undertaker that Kane was alive. And at Bad Blood, we would find out that Kane indeed was alive. So for the most part, in 1997, or the remainder of 97 and into 98, Kane would be very dominant in his matches. Having several squash matches against several different guys like Too Much. He defeated Vader a couple of times. He had an awesome rivalry in the early part of 98 with The Undertaker, facing him in, I think, a trilogy of matches, facing him at WrestleMania and Unforgiven, and then I believe Over the Edge. But at Unforgiven, they would have the first ever Inferno match. In June of 98, King of the Ring 98, I have it right here. Kane would make history and win the WWF Championship from Stone Cold Steve Austin in a first blood match. Although Kane's championship run was only 24 hours, it was a very significant win, and it proved that Kane would be a top player for many years to come. Kane would be, a very prominent figure on WWE for the next couple of years. In 99, he would form a tag team with X-Pac. In 98, he would continue his dominance with forming a tag team with Mankind, and eventually teaming up with The Undertaker in late 98. In 99, teaming up with X-Pac, and they would end up splitting a feud. In 2000, though, we would see Kane's attire starting to change. And, this is why I'm inserting these photos in here, kind of showing you the different changes to Kane's attire he would make over time. And I think this 2000 attire is definitely my favorite, with the red on the black. He would, I think he would debut this sometime in late 99, early 2000. That's definitely my favorite attire. In 2001, Kane would win the WWE Intercontinental Championship. I think he defeated Jeff Hardy. Actually defeated Triple H at the Backlash pay-per-view, or no, it was Judgment Day 2001. Kane would defeat Triple H for the Intercontinental Championship, and by this time Kane was having the career of a great competitor in 2001. 98, 99, 2000. 2001, he was really seen as a key player here, and he would have several top moments in 2001. He would be a big part of the invasion angle, having, a big part of the Royal Rumble in 2001, eliminating 11 competitors from the Rumble, and that record, those 11 men he eliminated, that would last for the next 14 years until Roman Reigns just recently broke that record. So 2002 wouldn't be the greatest year for Kane. He would end up, he lost several matches. I think he actually got a win over Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 19 or WrestleMania 18. I think he missed WrestleMania 19 though for whatever reason. No, actually he was in that tag team title match. Kane in 2002, 2003, he would be in several different tag teams, and I personally think this is a bit of Kane's downfall in 2002, 2003, and until Kane would become unmasked. So in the summer of 2003, Kane would lose a championship match to Triple H and was forced to take his mask off. After a promo from Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was the co-general manager of Raw, he was looking to find that fire inside of Kane, and he was provoking Kane several times. I really like this angle here. I really like the Kane unmasking. I was a big fan of seeing Kane unmasked, although it would, be the downfall of Kane for several years after this. But this initial 2003 run of Kane, the twisted, demonic, definitely very violent side of Kane here in 2003. Very good stuff. Very good work by Kane. He would have several attempts at the World Championship, but he would never win the world title for a number of years. He would face Shane McMahon at the Survivor Series in a very good rivalry. He faced Rob Van Dam at SummerSlam. Kane was on fire here in 2003. So Kane would become still a key player here for the next few years, but his role really wasn't that prominent as it once was during, the late 90s, early 2000s. He was more of a mid-card guy, a tag team wrestler during the mid-2000s here. Especially during like 2005, 2006, 2007. Not much was going on with Kane. In 2008, he would win the ECW championship, which, I was never a fan of the rebirth of ECW. Seeing Kane win the title in 8 seconds there at WrestleMania, not too big a fan of that, but it was a very historic moment for Kane nonetheless. And in 2010, Kane would finally find that fire again, winning the Money in the Bank briefcase for the SmackDown brand and cashing it in on the same night he won it. He became the first man to do this in WWE. The other guy being, of course, Dean Ambrose. And Kane would hold on to the World Heavyweight Championship for several months. I enjoyed this run. I thought the matches there with The Undertaker were a big letdown. They weren't what they were, several years earlier, over a dozen years prior to this. They did try, though. They did try. They tried very hard here. And, I did like Kane's run in 2010. It was much deserved, and, it was something different other than, the Edge and the Undertaker and the Batista and the Triple H's that we would see hold the title over and over and over again. So, seeing Kane win the World Championship was something fresh. Having him cut those, poetic poems there or promos in the ring for several minutes. Not too big on that, but I thought it worked for his character. He was trying something new, switching it up, and, he was like this sophisticated, evil, demented, crazy guy. And I really enjoyed the run. The matches, though, were a letdown, I would say that. He would hold the title for, I think, 5 months. I think until, Survivor Series 2010, maybe. No, he lost it at, I think, TLC 2010, where Edge would regain the world title and hold it until WrestleMania, where he would vacate it the next night. So in late 2011, Kane would, I think he was injured. I'm not exactly 100% sure right now, but we started seeing these vignettes and these return promos, and it would end up being Kane that would make his return to WWE in January 2012. Kane would return with this new look. He had changed his look once again, and I'm not a fan of this version of Kane. I'm not big on his recent attire, his recent mask, but I did think going back to his roots and becoming that evil, crazy guy again, just the psychopathic Kane that we once loved, would return again. And immediately going after John Cena. You go after the biggest guy, you make the most money. And the matches were, again, they were all right, but for whatever reason, I don't think they ever lived up to what we expected out of Kane. So in 2013, Kane would form a tag team with Daniel Bryan doing the Team Hell No stuff. And Kane's comedic abilities with Daniel Bryan, this was gold. Becoming tag team champions again for, probably the 10th time, I would say, that, Kane was, one of the best tag team wrestlers of the past, 15, 20 years. Kane with Daniel Bryan, they had a hell of a run as the tag team in 2013 there, and they put on some great matches there, and later feuded with the Shield. Great stuff there with Dr. Shelby and all that, the anger management classes. This is the stuff with the yes and the no and all that stuff. great stuff and great moments there with Dr. Shelby, Daniel Bryan. Some of my favorite stuff back in 2013 until Kane would eventually turn on Daniel Bryan and they would feud, have a few matches. But for the most part, Kane would go back on his own. He would become corporate Kane in like 2014, 2015, and we haven't really seen him much the past couple of years. So Kane has done it all in the WWE, from WWE champion, world champion, tag team champion, intercontinental champion. He's a former hardcore champion. He's definitely a future Hall of Famer, and I'll be very excited to see the day Kane goes into the Hall of Fame. Take some time and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. We'll talk to you later. Peace.